What's up, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And today we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Clippers and what's going on with their season now that the trade deadline has ended. Let's get into it.
The Los Angeles Clippers have a record of 30-16 and are number 3 in the Western Conference. Currently riding a 4-game win streak, made a big splash, in my opinion, by adding Rajon Rondo. How do you feel about his addition to the Clippers?
You know what? The move to trade Lou Williams and acquire Rajon Rondo is bittersweet to me. I think that losing Lou Williams, who is a staple in the Clippers locker room, I read somewhere that he's the heart and soul, and I have to agree with that, is sad to me. And I don't know if acquiring Rajon Rondo was Rajon Rondo, right? Don't get me wrong, not the position. See, that's where I am on the fence. So what Rajon Rondo is supposed to represent is a floor general, high IQ, point guard that can help facilitate, because I do believe that Kawhi Leonard needs a player like a Rajon Rondo type to help him be his best, right? But losing Lou Williams almost is like we are tearing down the Clippers organization to eventually build them back up. But what the Clippers fans need is a win now. And I don't know if Rajon Rondo, playoff Rondo, is going to be what he was with the Lakers and when he was with the Celtics. Just something about it is missing for me. And I think Rajon Rondo, what he represented in Atlanta Hawks, he was really supposed to be with the Hawks. I think it was just a way to get a little bit more money to come back to where he was supposed to be from the beginning. That's what I believe.
And that's exactly what it looks like too. I was thinking about that too, because he didn't give much effort with the Atlanta Hawks at all. In fact, he almost sabotaged them because they were playing terrible, when he came over there, and now they have their new coach and everything. And I don't know if Rondo had anything to do with that, but now that he's with the Clippers, I'm actually, I'm kind of excited about it. I think because they traded for need, right? They needed the floor general. They needed the instant leadership. Let's just face it. PG and Kawhi Leonard, they're not leaders. They're 1B. They're not 1A. They're not alpha. They're definitely beta personalities. And they need that fiery point guard to kind of, get things set up, have it so that they don't have to bring the ball up, and also try to look for their shot and run the offense. I think having Rondo with the Clippers just made their job much more easier.
My challenge with Rajon Rondo and them acquiring him right now is that he has been out on injury. He played 27 games with the Atlanta Hawks. 27 games, they played 45.
Yeah.
You are telling me he went into the season with health and safety protocols. Since he's been with the Hawks, he had knee issues, ankle issue, adductor issue. Like right now, he did not play the last few games. He was out with an adductor issue on the 24th of March. We are actually the Clippers are actually bringing in this player that's supposed to be a game changer for them that is injured. I don't understand it. And I really believe that they did not bring in Rajon Rondo for him to play in the season. They brought him in specifically for the playoffs. But my problem with that is if he don't get a chance to play with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George right now and really build chemistry, it will still be a bust. And talking about personality types, as you mentioned, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and he's supposed to come in and change what that looks like. Miss me with it. I don't see it. And at the end of the day, your best ability is your availability. And for me, Rajon Rondo is not going to be available. I don't see it. I just don't see it.
Oh my goodness. Well, he does have a pretty good relationship with Coach Tyronn Lue, and I think he will be an extension of the coach on the court. Now, I don't know how he and Patrick Beverley will end up getting along. They play the same position. They have a lot of history going against each other. Doesn't appear to really like each other much. How do you think Pat Bev and Rondo will get along as the season progresses?
I don't think Pat Bev will be happy. I can tell you right now, Pat Bev is going to be coming off the bench. They will not be starting Pat Bev. And if you think about it, if Pat Bev was that floor general that the Clippers so need, then they wouldn't have needed Rajon Rondo. Pat Bev is supposed to be that person, but he's not. Pat Bev is a dog on defense, and that's exactly what he's needed for, right? But not to help facilitate. And actually, now that Lou Williams is gone, Pat Bev is the last soldier standing from their 2017 when they acquired all three of them, Pat Bev, Montrezl Harrell, and Lou Williams. He's the last soldier standing. And really, Pat Bev is probably only there because he's currently injured, and he has a history of injuries as of late. And he's probably hanging on by a thread. They probably don't have anywhere to send him because I don't see any teams fighting or willing to accept what Pat Bev can give you, although he fits the Clippers culture. But I think they're shifting, and I don't see Pat Bev being a part of that.
Wow. Pat is a lone soldier, and I just thought about this too. Now he's really by himself. Montrez is across the hall, right? So if needed, they can still hang out and, after the games or whatnot. But now Lou Williams is sent way to the East Coast. They won't even be connected like that anymore. So, it's going to be tough. Okay. All right. So you believe that Rondo will start over Pat Bev?
Absolutely. If we're trying to get the Clippers ready for what the playoffs have to offer, because let's just be honest, anybody that's playing, the teams that are contending right now are contending for a playoff spot, right? So if Rondo does not play right now and start, there will be no way that he can build chemistry and continuity with the star players on the Clippers in Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and Serge Ibaka and Zubac. I mean, the whole team, really, right? If he doesn't start playing right now. Now, maybe that would be in 2 weeks, post 2 weeks of him being traded. But it's going to have to happen. And if you think that plugging in Pat Beverley as a starter to still help and have Rajon Rondo come off the bench, I just don't see it.
No,
I don't see it. I just don't see it. Now, he came off the bench when he was with the Atlantic Hawks. Matter of fact, he came off the bench when he was with the Lakers in their championship run. He was a bench player. But again, different dynamic, different stars, right? LeBron James and AD. Totally different people. So I understand that. But what the need of the Clippers is that they need someone that's going to begin the games. The problem with the Clippers is that they fall off. If they don't have a leg up and they are not dominating at the beginning of the game, you can forget about it. There was a fluke when they played against, what team was that? Where Luke Kennard went off with 20? What team was that?
I don't know.
It may have been the Hawks. I can't recall. Drop down in the comments if I'm wrong. But where Luke Kennard had his 20 points during the third quarter, and he helped revive what the Clippers, because the Clippers were going to lose that game if it wasn't for the second unit. And I just think that without something like that, the key to the Clippers' success, I believe, is that they do not fall behind in the first quarter. That's it. Because once that happens, the trajectory of the game is over. It's done.
You're talking about the game where Tyronn Lue had the guts to pull the starters and put the bench in, and they recovered and saved the game. Yeah, yes, I remember that one.
But I was like, when Tyronn Lue did that, I said, that's what that right there, that's the coaching I'm talking about. Forget that. You got your stars out there looking crazy, and the team is looking crazy, and you don't have the guts to pull them. Y'all sit down for a minute. You all y'all. Rondo has to start. He has to start. There is no way that we want to see as Clippers fans the resurgence of what took place in the bubble last season. There's no way. I don't want to sit through that.
Oh my goodness. I think Rondo would be really good for the second unit though.
Really?
Yeah, to kind of get things set up. I think Rondo is the missing piece. And the Clippers might finally make it to the Western Conference Finals this year. I do not see them coming out the West, but they'll make it to the Western Conference Finals under Rondo's leadership on the court, because that was the missing piece, wasn't it?
Yes, a point guard type position. My issue is not the position, it's the person.
Okay.
That is my issue. Now, I don't know if there's anybody else out there like Rondo, the person, that can get it done because of his high IQ. And you hear all the stories, right? I'm just saying that I wish there was someone else, because I am afraid that Rondo will not be available. That's just it.
Well, he probably won't. Let's look at his history. You're bringing in a 35-year-old point guard who has a long history of injuries, and you're asking him to be the game changer, like you mentioned. I don't know, but if he is healthy, I see him helping the Clippers tremendously. Yeah. Now, I honestly see a little bit of initial animosity between Pat Bev and Rondo because they're both type A plus personalities. And Pat Bev is kind of like, well, you ain't getting ready to take my starting spot. But Ty Lue has the final word. And I think Rondo will eventually. So that dynamic is definitely something to watch for as the games get underway and they really start to matter as we get closer to the playoffs. And in the playoffs, woo, it's going to be spicy.
I believe that Ty Lue, based on how he coaches, he will have the courage to say, Pat, just go and sit down.
Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, Pat Bev, he's so fiery, and it's really, really great. But I think all of that can sometimes come off negative. And because of that, he's ruined his stock. And then the injuries don't help either, right? So,
yeah, his stock is only valuable with the Clippers. That's it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if he were to get traded, I would be concerned that he would be traded and then eventually waived. That's kind of where I am with Pat Bev, and that's not fair to him, right? So hopefully they can be adults and they can, if they do have differences, that they can work it out where it doesn't have a negative impact on the overall success of the Clippers. Because let's just face it, it is Western Conference Finals or bust.
Yep.
Or bust. I don't care. You get out the first round. Matter of fact, I don't even care. You can even get out. You must get out of the second round. It is the Clippers organization. Ballmer might as well sell the arena he just purchased that they haven't started building on yet if they don't make it to the Western Conference Finals.
Oh, that's a strong statement.
Come on. How much longer?
Mm-hmm.
How much longer? Oh, you gonna wait? You waiting on LeBron James to come to the Clippers? It's not gonna happen. So the time is now. The time is now.
The time is now. Good thing Kawhi just purchased another house in the Los Angeles area, so there's a good chance that he'll stay with the team. I don't think PG is leaving anytime soon.
No.
The time is definitely now. They're in their primes right now. And if you can't win with two superstars in their primes, yeah, go ahead and put the team up for auction.
I am also happy that they did not trade Terrence Mann, because that was going to touch me a little much.
Really?
Yes, I think that there is a future for him in some way. I believe if they can help develop him a little bit more, he will be a nice piece. Maybe not on the Clippers long term, but at least on the short term. Another thing I think that I thought about with them trading Lou Williams really opens up the opportunity for Luke Kennard to show his worth. They paying him a lot of money. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And they invested in Luke Kennard. So there is no way that they can allow Luke Kennard. I believe his contract was like $64 million over a span of years. I don't know what the years were, but there's no way they can have him on the team. He's sitting on the bench barely getting minutes. It doesn't make sense. So if they entrust Luke Kennard and he actually kind of showed some spark in that game, I don't remember who they were playing against, but I believe Lou Williams being out of the picture is opening up the opportunity for Luke Kennard to come off the bench and become that sixth man or whatever for the Clippers. I think so. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in my opinion, I think the Clippers traded instant offense for instant leadership. I like that. Yes. Okay. Yes. They traded for need.
They traded for need. And the person that was available with the salary money, cap money that they had, because I believe it was a swap when we were talking about salary. So that's why it made it so easy to do, I guess. And they gave a couple of draft picks. But you know what? Your 2023 draft pick and your 2027 draft pick, who cares?
Right
now.
It's win now. It's win now.
I just really wish that the Clippers had not mortgaged their future, because really the right person would have been Kyle Lowry. I gotta say it. It just
it's true.
Being Kyle Lowry. But you settle for what you can pay for, and that's who they got. Right.
If they would have brought in Kyle Lowry, I think it would have been Toronto Raptors West. I I don't know. I don't know. Ibaka, Kawhi, and Kyle Lowry. I would have been
That
looking
would
at the
have been.
Raptors all over again.
But you know what though? Then it would have been a win. I would have been more hopeful with that lineup than I am with the Rondo. For some reason. Now, again, I hope Rondo becomes the playoff Rondo that we saw with the Los Angeles Lakers.
You know, one thing about Rondo is he will hold people accountable. He might get up in Kawhi's face and say, come on, man, I need you to scuffle back, you know, because Kawhi kind of slow. He's slow.
Check out the video. We talked about it. Kawhi will slow your whole offense down. Like you will literally be pedestrian walking back and forth on the court messing around with Kawhi. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I don't know that Kawhi is ready for that. And PG the same. PG, I don't know.
So if Rondo can be available, see, and that's my only. I don't doubt any of Rondo's skills. No, absolutely not. And watching him play with the Los Angeles Lakers in the last season when they won that championship was really exciting and it was inspiring. However, the Clippers do not need inconsistency on their roster. They can't afford it. I just hope that Ty can have a conversation and say, this is what you're coming into and this is what I'm going to need for you, buddy. You know, we go way back. Can you do this for me? I mean, I think that I know what you may want to do, but I'm going to need you to do it this way.
Okay. I think Ty Lue is a man for the job. I don't know that Doc Rivers would have done it, but.
No, I trust Ty Lue. Is it in Ty Lue I trust? I don't know. I don't know if I'm there yet, but Ty Lue, for me, has the guts to make it happen at any means. And whether you like it or not, even if you're a star, you just may find yourself on the bench. And that I like.
Yeah, you just might. All right, you guys, that wraps up this episode on the Los Angeles Clippers and Rajon Rondo's influx to their offense. Drop down in the comments and let us know what you think about the trade, and we will see you guys on the next one. But until then,
peace.
Peace, y'all.